The power disparity is going to be smaller than it was this gen. I mean, it'd almost have to be. Um, all of the consoles are going to be running, the same resolutions, 1080p max, most likely. I mean, you can't really do anything above that right now within, you know, reasonable pricing. So they're going to be pretty close to each other. Um, that said, uh, you know, Nintendo is kind of in a hard position because they're putting out the cafe right now, while 360 and PS3 are still in their stride. So no matter what, they're going to get a lot of ports from those systems. But do they really want ports? I want ports, but is it good for the system to have an image that all it gets is current gen ports and that it's not really next generation? Um, but Nintendo kind of screwed itself over when it made the Wii as powerful as it is. It's kind of the same situation when the Wii came out. One of the big launch game was a port of a GameCube game, and that kind of set the tempo for the Wii's life. It kept getting um, you know last gen ports with Wiimote Waggle added on. So it's kind of a hard decision to make, but we'll find out tomorrow.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be really interesting to see what exactly it is they decide to do with it. I mean, I'm just still trying to figure out exactly what made them decide that now was the time to release a new system instead of trying to revive the Wii. Because the Wii, even though it graphically is not on par with the 360 or the PS3, it still has potential that's there, and there's still a lot they could do with it. But rather than focusing on their mistakes with the Wii and trying to improve a little bit without making consumers buy a new system, they're just coming out with a brand new one. I don't exactly know how I feel about that.
Right. I mean, yeah, I agree with you. Wii Motion Plus has been out for a while, but there's not really any games that are taking advantage of it. So there's a lot of, potential there. I mean, if you look at Sony's conference, I know you haven't seen it yet, but they spend a lot of time hammering home, how much support they're getting for Move, and it is kind of impressive. Whereas the Wii Motion Plus, if Nintendo had really focused on that, then they could have extended the Wii's life another 2 years, probably. Um, but as for why they're bringing it out now, there could be a couple different reasons for that. One is Nintendo's internal developers just said, we're tired of dealing with this old technology. We want, the new stuff. And Nintendo always, you know, creates new systems based on what its internal developers need at the time. Like, um, the GameCube. Um, Maybe the GameCube's not that good of an idea. The N64 with its controller was formed around the needs of Mario 64. The Wii, the nunchuck, was formed because Retro said, "Hey, we need an analog stick for first-person shooters." Stuff like that. So it's possible that they just came up to a wall where they said, "We can't really push this technology any further, and we need a new system." Um, Besides that, it could be a business decision from Nintendo saying, "Hey, we have this opportunity here. Our console's technology is by far the oldest of any of the current systems out, so we do need a new system, but besides that, we have an opportunity here to launch before any of our competitors and get a head start on them." And it's worked sometimes, but then again, it hasn't worked sometimes. Like with the Dreamcast, that came out too far long before the PS2 and the rest of the systems did, so um, it kind of screwed itself over with the power and the third party support. So it's going to be interesting. I don't think Nintendo's completely wrong no matter what they do. That came out wrong. I don't think Nintendo's wrong with the cafe whenever they decide to put it out. It's just a matter of what they do and how serious they are about getting third party support and maintaining that third party support over its life. And at that point, it doesn't really matter what the other two are doing, but they should, keep an eye on them, I think.
True. The only concern that I really have is I don't see either Microsoft or Sony having any plans on releasing a new system fairly soon. So if they're trying to compete now with the 360 and the PS3, what's going to happen when a year or 2 years from now they finally do come out with a new system?
Right.
Because by then Cafe is going to possibly be outdated.
Right.
So I
Yeah.
think Nintendo's kind of making a very risky possibly shooting themselves in the foot by deciding that okay, now we're going to release a system to actually officially compete with the current gens when we may or may not be at the final point in the lifespan for this generation.
Right. That's true. But on the other hand, Nintendo is probably thinking it's been 5 years since the Wii launched. We've always launched new systems after 5 years. It could just be a case of ignorance and um, not really caring that Sony and Microsoft aren't ready yet, because they could keep going until 2013, and that would mean those consoles have a 7 or 8 year lifespan, which really hasn't ever happened before. It kind of happened with the PS2, but only because the PS2 kept going on after the PlayStation 3 had already come out. You know, as far as you know, new systems launching, that could be the biggest gap in gaming history. Between PlayStation 3 and PlayStation 4, or Xbox 360 and Microsoft's next system. So it could be a case of Nintendo going, well, we always launch new consoles after 5 years, and not really taking into account that things might have changed. Um, because who sets the generational start and end points? It's the companies themselves. So I don't think it's really written in stone, which could cause trouble for Nintendo later on.
It's definitely going to be interesting to see how this all unfolds the next few days.
Right. I mean, it's definitely super interesting to be following the gaming industry right now. Um, I mean, even this year, the PlayStation Network hacking thing. I mean, it, so much drama goes down in this industry. It's hard to really, you have to really be paying attention in order to, keep with the times, I guess.
Yep. There also really just isn't overly interesting to talk about right now. I mean, Microsoft Conference was a huge failure from what I've been hearing.
It was.
Sony's conference is like, we're kind of cool. Your
Yeah,
stuff that you pretty much already know about.
yeah. There weren't any bombshells at the Sony conference. I think. I don't think anybody would say, "Whoa, so many megatons." The only real megaton was that the PlayStation Vita is 250 and $300, and that's the price of a new system. I mean, once it's known, it's not like we can really do anything about it. Whereas, like, if they announced, a completely new game out of nowhere, we'd be like, oh, we'd have that to look forward to and that to, play when it comes out. So I think that's a different situation. So are you working the day after tomorrow?
Yep.
Man, you're really working the whole E3 time, are you?
Yeah, I don't have a day off until Thursday, and that's my first day of vacation.
Well, Thursday is the last day of E3. We might be able to do, one last podcast, a wrap up one, um, after tomorrow's. So that would mean four podcasts for this E3 total. Um, Hopefully, we'll be able to get more people in. Jeez.
Yep, hopefully. I don't know about you. I don't feel as excited for E3 as I used to, but I think that's just because developers seem to release so much information and so much quote unquote leak info happens like right
Yeah,
before.
yeah, definitely. We'd be looking forward to. I'd be looking forward to the cafe stuff a lot more if IGN and that French site hadn't, spilled the beans on a lot of the stuff. Um, but then again, does it whet our appetite for more? You know?
Uh, I'm pretty apathetic about it all.
All right. So, what is random question time? What is the one sequel you want the most? Real or
Hmm.
fantasy?
Hmm. What I really, really want, like, super bad, is I want an American Fatal Frame game, and I want it on the 3DS, and I want it to use OGG. I want to be able to scan a card and have ghosts be in my house and have to walk around my house. I think that would be awesome.
Wait, as a 3DS game?
Yes.
Huh. That's an interesting idea.
As I mean, the game already plays where you have to use a camera as your weapon, so why can't we use a handheld that has a built-in camera
Yeah,
and
yeah.
have you like actually physically walk around your house and maybe have like use an R card to trigger ghosts and stuff to happen. Just kind of peer around your house.
Right. As a completely amateur, hobbyist game developer myself, the problem I see with that is level designs. You wouldn't be able to, foresee program ahead of time the different levels. So you'd have to have some kind of super flexible system for determining, where stuff pops out and whatever.
I'm sure there's some way that they can like I don't know. That's not my job. I just come up with the idea. Someone else is paid to do it.
My game right now probably House of the Dead Overkill 2.
Really?
Yeah, I really like the first game.
Really? That oh, okay.
As for the game you were talking about, it kind of sounded like that could have been a Fatal Frame game, actually. Maybe a
Yeah, that's
spin-off.
yeah, that's what I would like.
And what game do you want, Ryan? I want Little Big Planet 3. I don't know. How does Ryan sound? I completely forgot.
I don't know. I haven't talked to any of you in over a year.
Right. Actually, I was wrong last night. I said the last one was on a year ago yesterday, but it was actually um, April 24th or something. So it's even longer than we thought.
Shit, dude.
But we're making up for it now. You know, 4 podcasts, right in a row. If you don't like it, suck it.
Are we gonna attempt to do another one tomorrow?
Yeah, we're gonna we're gonna do another one tomorrow to cover the Nintendo stuff and the impressions um, the journalists are having on the show floor. And then we're gonna do a wrap-up one on Thursday probably.
Okay, I might not be here for the one tomorrow.
What?
Yeah, a bunch of friends and I, there's a movie theater around here that every Tuesday night movies are $5, just an even $5, and they serve drinks and food to you while you watch the movie. So we're gonna go see X-Men because it's only $5 and we can get a little tipsy when we watch it.
I mean, I guess it's better than planning D&D or whatever.
That's gonna happen when I come back from St. Louis.
X-Men's actually a really good movie. It's like the Batman Begins for X-Men, I would call it.
Really, because I heard that it wasn't that good, and then I've heard that it's not bad. So
Yeah,
wait and see tomorrow.
don't get your expectations super high. I mean, if you go in with, your expectations in check, then I think you'll be very satisfied, at least. And when you go back to it with like a magnifying glass, there are things that you could pick out, be like, oh my gosh, nerd rage. But if you're just there for the movie and you're enjoying it, then I think you'll be pretty well off.
All right, I will keep that in mind.
All right, I think that wraps up this podcast. We're getting close to the 30-minute mark.
Okay, sounds like a good plan.
All right, so you're gonna have the closing word this time. Think of something to say.
Everyone send me money because I've got some stuff coming out this month I need to buy.
Okay, and how do they send you that money, Steph?
Just write a check to cash and send it to Charleston, South Carolina.
All right. We'll be back tomorrow to talk about the Nintendo stuff. So, till then.
Adios.